and welcome to Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Buhari underscores need for credible elections in West Africa. Senate confirms Mohamed Bello as RMAFC chairman. Plus, Russia to quit International Space Station after 2024. Details of these stories and more in a moment. We'll begin the news tonight with a report that President Muhammad Buhari has called on leaders in West Africa to do all within their powers to ensure that elections were conducted in their countries in an atmosphere of trust, freedom, and transparency. The president made the call in Monrovia, Liberia, in a goodwill message to the government and people of the country as he joined other world leaders on the occasion of the 175th independence anniversary of the West African nation. President Buhari noted that this was the only way the sub-region could be insulated from the scourge of unconstitutional takeovers that recently raised heads in 3 countries. According to the president, democracy and good governance should take their roots in the African continent to sustain peace, stability, and development. He also encouraged leaders in the region to redouble their efforts to guarantee the irreversibility of democracy. In another development, President Buhari is in Liberia to attend the country's 175th independence anniversary celebrations. This is, according to the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, who confirmed this in a statement. Buhari was expected to be special guest of honor at the event, which will be joined by other world leaders and organizations to rejoice with the people of Liberia. Reports say after participating in the independence program, President Buhari is expected back in the country later same day. Recall that Nigeria played a leading role in the stabilization of the West African nation in the early 90s, leading to the establishment of democratic rule, and has continued to assist the country in many ways, especially through the Technical AIDS Corps scheme. Accompanying the president on the street of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Oyema, and Director General National Intelligence Agency Ambassador Ahmed Abubakar. Meanwhile, President Buhari has forwarded the name of the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, to the Senate for immediate confirmation of his appointment. His request for the confirmation of the appointment of Justice Ariwola as CJN was contained in a letter that was read on the floor of the Senate during plenary session at the National Assembly, Abuja. According to the executive communication, the president forwarded the names of 5 nominees to the Senate for confirmation of appointments as non-executive directors of the board of the Central Bank of Nigeria. He also sent to the Senate a list of 19 nominees for confirmation as resident electoral commissioners for the Independent National Electoral Commission. 5 of the resident electoral commissioner nominees are for renewal of appointments, while 14 are for fresh appointments. From the legislature, a bill seeking to include teachings against breast and cervical cancers into the curriculum of all senior secondary schools in Nigeria has gone through second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill, which is sponsored by the Chairman House Committee on Healthcare Services, Tanko Sununu, and co-sponsored by the Chairman House Committee on Basic Education, Professor Julius Ihowere, is part of the OCI Foundation's Arm Our Youth's Anti-Cancer Health Campaign, an initiative targeting youths in Nigerian senior secondary schools and the National Youth Service Corps. Already in partnership with Nigeria NYC, the OCI Foundation is annually delivering the same anti-cancer campaign to hundreds of thousands of Nigerian fresh graduates, youth corps members in all the 37 NYC orientation camps in Nigeria. The ROA Help campaign enjoys the support of the First Lady Aisha Buhari, whose NGO, the Future Assured Foundation, is partnering with the OCI Foundation on the bill. Still from the legislative, the Senate has confirmed Mohammed Bello as Chairman, Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Bello's confirmation was sequel to the consideration of a report by the Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs. Chairman of the committee, Senator Olubunmi Adetumbi, in his presentation said the available documents and the presentation made to the committee that the nominee satisfies the requirement for appointment as the Chairman of Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RMAFC. He added that the nominee is very well experienced and adequately exposed at the top levels of government administration and has acquired the capacity to function as chairman. He disclosed that there were no petitions against the nominee and no objections raised from the senators from his state of origin for his nomination. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has denied any plot to impeach Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila over his alleged refusal to support the controversial Water Resources Bill before the House. An online newspaper had reported that northern lawmakers in the House are plotting an impeachment of the Speaker and perfected plans to bring up the controversial bill for passage when those opposed to the bill are not present in the House. The report also said that the clerk to the House has already been contacted to prepare an addendum and plan to take their counterparts from the southern part of the country unawares to ensure the bill successfully passes through second reading. Recall that the controversial executive bill, which was passed by the House in the last assembly but rejected by the Senate, was reintroduced in accordance with the House rules and passed by the House at the Committee of the Whole. In the meantime, a UK court has granted bail to the wife of Senator Ike Ekweremadu, Beatrice, who is being held alongside her husband in the United Kingdom. The court, however, refused to grant bail to her husband. Recall that Ekweremadu, a former deputy president of the Senate, was detained alongside his wife over allegations of a plot to traffic a man into the UK to harvest a kidney for their daughter. According to reports, 55-year-old Beatrice is charged with arranging or facilitating the travel of another person with a view to exploitation between August 1, 2021 and May 5, 2022 under the Modern Slavery Act 2015. The Common Sergeant of London, Richard Marks, granted the bail to Beatrice subject to some fairly stringent conditions. The prosecutors did not appeal the decision of the court. Two judicial matters now where the Court of Appeal has urged donor agencies and institutions including the National Democratic Institute (NDI) and the International Republican Institute (IRI) to assist the country in conducting safe and credible elections next year. The court's President Justice Monica Dobwan-Mensem said the cooperation and collaboration of donor agencies and institutions with rich knowledge and experience of electoral processes will be greatly required in the areas of training and other forms of partnership so as to ensure the conduct of not just a free and fair election, but also safe and secure election in Nigeria come 2023. Justice Dobwan-Mensem spoke while receiving a joint pre-election assessment mission of NDI and IRI in Abuja. Represented by the presiding Justice of the Court of Appeal Abuja Division, Justice Haruna Samani, the President of the Court of Appeal PCA said courts and tribunals have so far done well in handling election disputes. Still from the judiciary, the President of the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA), Olumide Akpata, was today absent at the meeting of the Body of Benches (BOB) held in Abuja. The meeting, which was held at the Body of Benches complex in Jabi, Abuja, was well attended by key stakeholders in the legal profession, including the Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kayode Ariwola, past Chief Justices of Nigeria, Justice Mahmood Mohammed and Justice Walter Onoge. Also in attendance was Justice Mary Odili, retired, who doubles as the Vice Chairman of the Body of Benches. Past presidents of the NBA, including Paul Usoro-san, OCJ Okocha-san, Joseph B. Dauda-san, Okewali-san, Abubakar Mahmood-san, amongst several other leaders of the legal profession, were present, with some participating virtually. Akwata, who by virtue of his office is a member of the BOB, failed to attend today's meeting, the first since he requested the BOB chairman Wole Olanipekunsan to step down over a petition against a lawyer in Olanipekun's firm. Now in education, the National Examinations Council (NECO) has deployed cutting-edge software to ensure efficient grading of students and candidates in its various examinations. The Registrar and Chief Executive of NECO, Professor Dantani Wushishi, stated this in a press statement issued to mark his 1 year in office. Speaking on the new grading system, Wushishi, who listed several achievements recorded since assuming office, said the software would ensure precise grade value for every subject. He also lamented that the initial placement of NECO on the list of ministries, departments and agencies that remit 25% of generated revenue to government coffers took a toll on the exam body's activities. Elsewhere, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons (NAPTIP) has raised the alarm over growing cases of fake foreign scholarship advertorials. NAPTIP said an increasing number of persons were being trafficked to foreign countries under the guise of schooling in foreign universities, only to be forced into prostitution. NAPTIP's Director General Dr. Fatima Waziriazi said a lot of Nigerians were being trafficked to countries like North Cyprus using fake university scholarships. Away from that, troops of the 7 Guards Brigade, which provides security for the Presidential Villa and the Federal Capital Territory (FCT), have reportedly been attacked by gunmen suspected to be terrorists. Reports say they were ambushed while on patrol along the Kubwa-Buari Road in the nation's capital. A spokesperson for the Guards Brigade, Captain Godfrey Abakwa, confirmed the incident, noting that the attack was successfully repelled by the troops. Captain Abakwa said a few of the men who were wounded in action have been taken to hospital where they were receiving treatment, adding that the troops were combing the general area to get rid of the criminals who have been threatening the area. He advised residents of Abuja to go about their lawful businesses and keep cooperating with the military by providing timely information to enable them curb the activities of criminals. To Kogi State now, where the State Police Command has debunked media reports of a bomb explosion in Lokoja today. The Commissioner for Police in Kogi State, Edward Ebuka, while briefing journalists, described the purported bomb explosion as a hoax. He explained that the command quickly deployed the bomb disposal unit to the area to ascertain the truth of the matter after it was informed of the development. The police commissioner advised journalists to always confirm crime-related reports at their disposal with the police before publication to avoid creating panic in the minds of the people. Recall that report had alleged an explosion was heard around the office of the Secretary to the State Government at about 8:30 a.m. today. Away from that, operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) Lagos Command have arrested 2 self-acclaimed spiritualists, Alpha Abiodun Ibrahim and Wale Adifala. The duo were nabbed for allegedly conspiring to defraud a House of Representatives aspirant in Ekiti State of the total sum of 24 million naira. The suspects claimed the money was to be used to secure spiritual help for the political ambition of the aspirant. Recall that a report on the Commission's website said the suspects were arrested on July 7, 2022 in Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State, sequel to a petition against them. The suspect had, during interrogation, confessed to having committed the crime. In another development, the Nigerian Union of Pensioners NUP Ekiti State Chapter has threatened to approach the court to compel the state governor, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, to pay their outstanding benefits before the expiration of his tenure in October. The NUP chairman, Joe Akinola, while addressing journalists at a press conference in Ado-Ekiti, said that as the outgoing government announced plans for payment of entitlements of all sacked political aides, the backlog of emoluments of the pensioners should be prioritized in good time. Akinola revealed that an aggregate of 587 pensioners are either dead or bedridden owing to infirmity suffered as a result of the inability to get the required treatment for their ailments. The chairman said the union had put its lawyers on notice over the alleged shabby treatment being meted out to them, and that they might resort to litigation if their issues were not resolved expeditiously. Now, on electoral matters, according to information displayed by the Independent National Electoral Commission, no fewer than 18 political parties are set to contest the governorship election in Sokoto State. Reports say 2 political parties are fielding 2 female deputy governorship candidates for the first time. They include Hanatu Mokta, who is the deputy governorship candidate of the platform of the Action People's Party, and Hawa Au Bello, who is the running mate on the platform of Allied People's Movement. Reports say, apart from the candidates of All Progressive Congress and People's Democratic Party, which has Saidu Umar and Ahmed Sokoto, other political parties have also fielded their candidates for the election. Meanwhile, workers in Benue State today joined their counterparts across the country in solidarity protests of the strike embarked on by the Academic Staff Union of Universities. This is as public institutions in the capital city aside from primary and post-primary schools shut their doors for business activities. The workers, under the aegis of Nigeria Labour Congress, and as early as 7:30 a.m. thronged the major streets of Makurdi, Benue State capital in peaceful protest. Reports say the workers took off from the state secretariat along Otukpo Road, chanting solidarity songs, and terminated the procession at the government house, Makurdi. Meanwhile, the state chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Godwin Anya, in his speech said that the 2-day protest was part of activities lined up to compel the federal government to meet the agreement it entered into with ASU. Benue State Governor, on the other hand, Samuel Otom, who received the protesting workers at the gate of the government house, called on the federal government to honor its agreement with ASU. In a separate development, Governor-elect of Osun State Ademola Adeleke has constituted a 37-member transition committee to facilitate a smooth transition between the incumbent and the newly elected administration in the state. This was contained in a statement by the spokesman for the People's Democratic Party Osun State Chapter, Oladele Bamiji. He said the transition committee will be inaugurated by Adeleke on Thursday. Bamiji said the transition committee was made up of seasoned technocrats, public office holders, and experts from diverse fields. He added that the committee is to be chaired by a doctor of nuclear medicine and a fellow of the Euro Institute of Reticuloendothelial Biology and Medicare, Muyiwa Oladimeji. In the meantime, Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has warned that federal government should brace for a 3-day nationwide strike across all sectors if the crisis in the nation's public universities are left unresolved. Scores of unions in various critical sectors such as aviation, electricity, and petroleum, among others, are affiliated with the labor union. NLC President Ayuba Wabba gave the warning today during a televised interview amid the protest by members of the union across the country. Highlighting the importance of the protest, he said the protest was first to show the workers' concern and to also call for urgent action to resolve the issues on ground. Back here, the Akwa Ibom State branch of the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC has said the enough is enough statement that the Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari should be matched with the actions of meeting ASU's demands so the union can permanently end the strike action in the Nigerian university system so that the school students can return to school. Speaking at the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly grounds where members of affiliate labor unions converged to kickstart the two-day nationwide protest announced by the national leadership of NLC in solidarity with the ASU action, NLC Chairman, Akwa Ibom State Branch, Sunday James, had this to say.
To tell the House of Assembly that our children cannot continue to be at home. That the Speaker should join the Forum and Council of Other Speakers in Nigeria to tell Mr. President to respect the word. Enough is
Comrades, please go and join us to put the pressure. Let whatever issue be resolved and let the schools reopen.
We are part of this necklace. Like I want to join you to tell the people at the central that enough is enough. Let our children go back to school.
Still to come in the news. IMF warns global recession may be imminent as inflation surge. To stay with us. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now in Africa, 8 children, a teacher and a driver have died after a minibus ferrying them to primary school fell into a roadside ditch in southern Tanzania. According to police chief of the Mtwara region, Nicodemus Katembo, 19 other pupils from King David School were injured in the accident this morning. Reports say the injured are being treated at the Mtwara Referral Hospital, adding that the authorities are investigating the cause of the accident. Meanwhile, Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan has sent condolences to the families of the deceased. Still in Africa, the authorities in Ethiopia's eastern Somali region say government soldiers have killed 85 suspected Al-Shabaab militants and captured many more in its territory. The National Army has joined regional forces in an offensive against the Somalia-based militants who last week attacked 2 villages near the border. Reports say the militants crossed from Somalia into Ethiopian territory in several vehicles, and there was intense fighting. Meanwhile, the senior leader of the militant group called for more attacks. In the meantime, at least 5 people have died and 50 others have been injured during protests against the United Nations in the city of Goma in Eastern Democratic of Congo. The demonstrations have continued for a second day, demanding the departure of the peacekeeping force MONUSCO. The protests, called that by the government's youth wing, turned violent when demonstrators stormed the mission's local headquarters and a logistical base. There have been chaotic scenes of burning and looting. One graphic image shared on social media shows a protester lying on the ground as others shout that he has been shot dead by the UN forces. Reports say the UN forces fired live bullets to prevent protesters from attacking the premises. Meanwhile, the UN forces have been deployed to the volatile region, where there are more than 100 active rebel groups for more than 2 decades. DR Congo accuses neighboring Rwanda of supporting M23, which Rwanda denies. Recall that 3 weeks ago, the country's 2 leaders agreed on a de-escalation process in eastern DR Congo. Elsewhere, Tunisian President Kais Saied has been celebrating his apparent victory in a referendum on a new constitution that gives him almost unlimited powers. Saied appeared in front of jubilant supporters in the early hours of the morning after an exit poll indicated that more than 90% of those who had voted had supported the president's plan. But turnout was low, less than 30%. Saied said it would have been higher if voting had taken place over 2 days. Meanwhile, the president has promised that Tunisia would now enter a new phase after a decade of political deadlock that followed the Arab Spring of 2011. In the meantime, South Africa has officially requested the extradition of 2 Gupta brothers currently in the United Arab Emirates on charges of money laundering and fraud. South African Justice Minister Ronald Lamola said Atul Gupta and Rajesh Gupta, commonly known as the Gupta brothers, are accused persons in 2 criminal matters by the United Arab Emirates. Reports say the brothers were arrested in Dubai in June 2022 on the basis of an Interpol red notice launched by Pretoria. They are accused of having looted the country with the complicity of former President Jacob Zuma. Director of National Prosecuting Authority in South Africa, Shamila Batohi, has assured that the ID Investigative Directorate is working with relevant stakeholders to ensure that all the cases have the necessary resources and good support from the Department of Justice, adding that the extradition could take several months.
The matter relating to the Gupta brothers, the United Arab Emirates, Mr. Atul Kumar Gupta and Mr. Rajay Kumar Gupta, commonly known as the Gupta brothers, are accused persons in two criminal matters.
Ensuring that all the cases have the necessary resources. We've had good support from the Department of Justice. We're working very, very well. The ID is working extremely well now with relevant stakeholders.
The matter relating to the Gupta brothers.
On a foreign scene, Russia will be leaving the International Space Station after 2024 amid tensions with the West, in a move analysts warn could lead to a halt to manned flights. The confirmation of the long-mooted move comes as ties unravel between the Kremlin and the West over Moscow's military intervention in Ukraine and several rounds of devastating sanctions against Russia, including its space sector. Space experts said the departure from the International Space Station would seriously affect the country's space sector and deal a major blow to the program of manned flights, which is a major source of Russian pride. Still on the foreign scene, Japan's former Emperor Akihito has been diagnosed with heart failure but in stable condition after being prescribed medication. The diagnosis was made during an unrelated health checkup last month on the 88-year-old, who in 2019 became the first member of the world's oldest royal family to abdicate the throne in more than 200 years. Meanwhile, the examination confirmed heart expansion and pleural fluid. Reports say a subsequent checkup involving an MRI scan at a Tokyo hospital found the retired emperor has right heart failure. Meanwhile, the United States is preparing for China's angry response over its support for Taiwan, a self-governing island that Beijing claims as its own territory. Last week, China warned against a potential high-stakes trip by U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taipei. Following reports of Pelosi's plans, China's foreign ministry has reportedly vowed to take resolute and forceful measures if the trip goes ahead. U.S. President Joe Biden has told reporters that the U.S. military thinks a Taiwan visit by Pelosi is not a good idea right now. However, Pelosi said it is important to show support for Taiwan, but declined to discuss any travel plans, citing security. Although China has not disclosed what forceful measures it is planning to take, some Chinese experts say Beijing's reaction could involve a military component, as the situation between China and the US will be very tense. Now on our business news, surging inflation and severe slowdowns in the United States and China has prompted the IMF to downgrade its outlook for the global economy this year and next, while giving an even starker assessment of what may lie ahead. According to IMF chief economist Pierre-Olivier Gourin-Chas, the outlook has darkened significantly since April. He added that the world may soon be teetering on the edge of a global recession only 2 years after the last one. Meanwhile, the world's three largest economies, the United States, China, and the Euro area, are stalling with important consequences for the global outlook. Still in business, the founder of satellite company Starlink, Elon Musk, has revealed when the company's operation will start in Nigeria, as the firm prepares to compete against MTN Nigeria, Airtel, Globalcom, and Nine Mobile. Musk, via his Twitter account, disclosed that Starlink's service will commence next month, August 2022, in Nigeria, 3 months after the world's richest man informed his 102 million followers on Twitter that the government had approved its operation. The company is currently operational in 36 countries with 1,469 active satellites in operation as of January's report, serving over 400,000 subscribers globally. However, it expects 4,200 satellites in operation within 18 months, as disclosed by Musk in March 2022. Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Nigeria has disbursed 68.13 billion naira to beneficiaries under its 100 for 100 policy on production and productivity since the commencement of the intervention. The CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, disclosed this in Lagos after the last Monetary Policy Committee meeting, noting that the bank has released 9.98 billion naira for 5 projects, bringing the cumulative disbursements under the intervention to 68.13 billion naira for 48 projects, comprising 26 in manufacturing, 17 in agriculture, 3 in healthcare, and 2 in the services sector. According to the guidelines for the implementation of the initiative, the CBN fixed the maximum loan amount that a participant could get at 5 billion naira. The Apex Bank said the initiative would be implemented in collaboration with relevant stakeholders, with a focus on micro and macroeconomic impacts in terms of contribution to GDP and exports, sustainable jobs created, local content development, production output, capacity utilization, and integration into the global value chain. Still to come in the news. Ajibade Ohale make team of the tournament. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying tuned. Now, in health, the federal government has said it has developed a national strategic framework for eliminating viral hepatitis in the country by 2030. The federal government said the framework is in line with the global health sector strategy for viral hepatitis control. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja, in commemoration of the 2022 World Hepatitis Day, the Minister of Health, Dr. Sagie Hanire, said Nigeria is one of the first countries to have achieved this in a short time. Hanire said nearly 20 million people are infected with hepatitis B or C. According to him, viral hepatitis remains a public health threat, especially hepatitis B and C, which cause chronic infection with attendant morbidity and mortality. He, however, said despite the significant rates of infection, there is very low awareness about the infection and called on Nigerians to get tested. Still in health, about 150 women's rights and civil society organizations, CSOs, have urged the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to lift the suspension on the state guidelines on safe termination of pregnancy for legal indications issued by the Directorate of Family Health and Nutrition in the Ministry of Health. Recall that the Lagos State Governor Sanwo-Olu had on July 8, 2022, directed the suspension of the state guidelines, saying the new guidelines would not be implemented until adequate deliberation. Before that, the Lagos State Government had on June 29, 2022, presented and launched the 40-page policy document. However, making the call on the Lagos State Governor at a press briefing organized by the Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center, the women group said 10% of the global maternal death rate comes from unsafe abortions in Nigeria, making it the second leading cause of maternal mortality in the country. Speaking on behalf of the women groups and CSOs, Executive Director of Ward C, Dr. Abiola Akiyode Afolabi, noted that the guidelines seek to save women from preventable deaths.
What the guideline it's doing is to ensure that termination of pregnancy is professionally standardized and regulated. And that if we do not do this, just as we have had a very bad record of quite a number of people, particularly teenagers, young women who die as a result of unsafe abortion, we will continue to have this bad record of deaths that we see on a daily basis.
There are all the issues that are existing. It's just a compilation of all these issues that are in the document so that it can be standardized across the board. And also for new medical practitioners coming into on board will know the cases in which pregnancy can be terminated.
And for reports around the sports world, we have Bright James standing by.
Thank you, Xavier Robert. Good evening and welcome to the Sports Desk. I am Bright James. We'll begin with the football stories where Super Falcons duo Sinacho Hale and Rashida Ajibade have been named the best 11 of the 2022 Women African Cup of Nations. The reliable center Paco Hale featured in all of Super Falcons' 6 games in the competition. The defender was named Woman of the Match in Nigeria's third game against Burundi. Rashida Ajibade was no doubt Nigeria's biggest performer in the tournament, scoring 3 goals and recording 2 assists in 5 outings for the Super Falcons. She also finished as the tournament's joint top scorer alongside Bayana of South Africa, who won the tournament for the first time, dominated the team of the tournament with 4 of their players making the shortlist. The Atlas Lionesses of Morocco have 3 players, while the Copper Queens of Zambia, who came third, have 2 players. More football stories now. Paul Pogba will miss the next leg of Juventus' pre-season tour of the US after suffering an injury. The 29-year-old French international rejoined the Serie A Giants on a free transfer after his United contract expired earlier this summer. He started the 2-0 friendly win over Guadalajara in Nevada on Saturday. But after 6 years away from Turin, he could now face a spell on the sidelines after Juventus announced he will not take part in the trip to Dallas. In the US, Juventus would face La Liga side FC Barcelona. Elsewhere, Phil Foden is close to putting pen to paper on a lucrative new long-term contract at Manchester City. Foden's future at the Etihad Stadium has never really been called into question, although his current deal has just 2 more years to run. The 22-year-old's representatives have been talking to City about new and improved terms since last summer, and there's confidence, like there always has been, that the deal is now close to being finalized. Foden's new deal will run until at least 2027, with the England playmaker set to pocket in excess of £200,000 per week in wages. And that's it from the sports desk this evening. I am Bright James. Over now to Bito Brian for entertainment news.
Thanks, Bright James. Hello and welcome to the entertainment desk. I am Bito Brian. First off on our bulletin this evening, Nigerian award-winning singer Temilade Okpeni, popularly known as Tems, has made her solo debut on the Billboard Hot 100 charts with her 2020 song Free Mind off her EP For Broken Ears. Free Mind made it to the charts a day after Tems featured on the soundtrack of the trailer of Marvel's Black Panther sequel Wakanda Forever. The trailer, released on Sunday, was soundtracked by Tems' rendition of Bob Marley's No Woman No Cry and Kendrick Lamar's All Right. For her debut solo entry, Tems peaked at number 90, making it the 4th time she's appearing on the prestigious Billboard Hot 100 charts. In the meantime, Burna Boy's Last Last climbs 14 places on the Billboard Hot 100. In the latest issue of the Billboard Hot 100, Burna Boy's Last Last occupies the number 72nd position. The climb of 14 places from 86th spot to 72nd in the latest issue of the charts has it as the hit single enjoys its second week on the charts, having debuted at the number 86 spot last week. Away from that, Nick Cannon welcomes 8th child with Brie Tyce. American actor and TV host Nick Cannon has welcomed his 8th child, Tyce, who shared the big news via Instagram page on Monday, July 25th, 2022, said the experience had changed her forever and she could have asked for a more amazing partner who was supportive. She said he did show up for them. Following the delivery of the child has said to have been placed on respiratory support. Bree said she noticed the child wasn't breathing after she had birthed him, but following the aid from the doctors following a water bath, where Nick Cannon also joined her in the bath, they had intensive care for the child, who is now in recovery. It will be recalled that in January 2022, the actor revealed that he was expecting his 8th child with Tyce. They did this as they hosted a gender reveal party in California. Cannon and Tyce gathered together with a small group of friends who were surrounded by pink and blue balloons. Tyce only recently finalized her divorce from Johnny Manziel. She used to work with Cannon on his popular MTV Wild 'N Out show. Cannon shares a 10-year-old twins, Monroe and Moroccan, with ex-wife Mariah Carey. He has a 4-year-old son, Golden Sagan, and a 1-year-old daughter, Powerful Queen, with ex Brittany Bell. The drumline actor tragically lost his 5-month-old son, Zen, in 2021 with Alisa Scott. Nick Cannon and Brie Tyce's son did need respiratory support after birth, with many saying this might also raise a concern about the child's health. But the mother said that a midwife used an air tube for the newborn when she finally decided that he wasn't breathing enough, and then he began to cry. She also went on to say this is the best sound she ever heard. Then on our final story, together. Nigerian Instagram comedian and skit maker Nonso Afolabi, popularly known as La Sisi, is expecting his first child with his partner Nonso Adika. The skit maker took to his Instagram stories on Monday, July 25, 2022, where he shared videos from the bridal shower organized on behalf of his fiancée. Lysis's colleagues, including Mr. Macaroni, Brother Shaggy, MC Lively, and Hero Daniels, and a host of others, were in attendance. This is coming days after Lysisi revealed that he had proposed to his girlfriend. Adika is an actress and a movie producer. She gained prominence in Bovi Uboma's YouTube drama series Back to School, where she played the role of one of the teachers. La Sisi, on the other hand, is a Nigerian comedian, actor, compere, and a musician. That's our package from the entertainment desk this evening. I am Bito Brian, thanking you for watching. Over to Xavier Roberts.
That's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 9. My name. Do enjoy the rest of your day. What's happening?